Mohammed had always dreamed of becoming a doctor. When he finally received a scholarship to study medicine in the United States, it felt like his life was beginning. He arrived in a quiet town in Ohio, far from home, far from the desert sun he was used to. The air was colder, and the nights were strangely silent. His dorm room was small but clean, with one desk, 2 beds, and a window that faced the dark forest behind campus. He shared the room with an American student named Ryan, a friendly guy who liked horror movies a little too much. The first few weeks went smoothly. Mohammed spent most of his time studying and calling his family back home. But one night, while reviewing anatomy notes at his desk, he heard a soft scratching sound at the window. Scritch, scritch, scritch. He frowned. His room was on the 3rd floor. No one could reach that window from outside. When he stood up and pulled the curtain aside, he saw nothing but fog. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone had been there. He went back to his desk, turned on a small lamp, and tried to ignore it. But as he started to write, the scratching came again, followed by a faint, chilling laugh. "Ryan?" he whispered, looking toward his sleeping roommate. No answer, only the cold whisper of the night air, and that laugh fading into the distance. The next morning, Ryan was gone. His bed was neatly made, his backpack missing, but his phone, wallet, and textbooks were still on the desk. Mohammed assumed he had left early for class, but as the day passed, Ryan never showed up. By evening, a message was sent to the entire dorm. If anyone has seen Ryan Collins, please contact campus security immediately. Mohammed's stomach turned cold. He replayed last night's scratching sounds over and over in his head. When he returned to his room that night, he noticed something new: deep knife marks on the inside of the wooden door. He crouched to touch them. The edges were fresh. He called out, "Ryan, are you trying to scare me?" No answer, just silence, until the power suddenly flickered. The entire building went dark for a few seconds. In that brief moment, Mohammed heard footsteps in the hallway outside, slow, uneven, dragging. Then a whisper pressed against the door. "Go to sleep." Mohammed froze, unable to breathe. He backed away, heart pounding, staring at the thin line of light under the door. The footsteps stopped. Then the door handle twisted at once. Twice. He grabbed a metal ruler from his desk, the only weapon he had. "Who's there?" he shouted. Nothing. The silence returned. He waited for an hour before daring to open the door. The hallway was empty, but on the floor, written in something dark and sticky, were 2 words: "Good night." Mohammed didn't sleep that night. He sat at his desk, eyes locked on the door, a cup of cold coffee trembling in his hand. Every creak of the old dorm made his muscles tense. When dawn finally broke, he packed a small bag and went straight to class, pretending everything was fine. But his mind wasn't on the lecture. He kept replaying that whisper, "Go to sleep." Maybe it was a prank, he thought. Maybe someone was trying to scare him. Still, something deep inside told him this wasn't a joke. That evening, the fog returned, thicker than ever. The forest behind the dorm disappeared completely under a white curtain of mist. As Mohammed studied by the window, he saw a movement, a dark shape standing among the trees, too still to be human. He rubbed his eyes. When he looked again, the figure was gone. Trying to calm down, he closed the curtain and turned on his small lamp. Then the lights flickered once, twice, and went out. The room was swallowed by darkness. From somewhere outside, he heard tapping on the glass. He turned slowly, his heart pounding. There through the fogged-up window was a face, pale white skin, black hollow eyes, and a wide, carved smile. Mohammed froze. The figure tilted its head, pressing a hand against the glass. A voice slipped through the window, low and distorted. "Go to sleep." Mohammed stumbled backward, grabbing the first thing he could, a metal desk lamp. The glass shattered. A hand reached inside, skin cold and gray, fingers thin like blades. Mohammed swung the lamp with all his strength. The figure pulled back, laughing, a horrible, broken sound that echoed down the hallways. He ran out of the room, slamming the door behind him. As he sprinted down the corridor, he caught a glimpse of the name carved into the wall beside his door. Jeff. The next morning, the campus was buzzing with rumors. Students whisper about screams in the night and broken windows in the old dorm. When Mohammed tried to explain what happened, no one believed him, not even campus security. "You're stressed," one officer said. "Midterms do that to people." But Mohammed knew what he saw. The pale face, the knife, the laugh, it was real. Later that day, as he waited outside the dorm for repairs, a woman approached him, tall, with sharp eyes and a badge on her coat. "Detective Hall," she introduced herself. "You're Mohammed Al-Faraj, right? The student who reported the break-in?" He nodded nervously. Hall showed him photos of missing students from nearby towns. "Do any of these faces look familiar?" she asked. Mohammed's blood ran cold. One of them was Ryan, his roommate. He pointed shakily. "That's him." Hall's expression darkened. "Then you're lucky to be alive." She told him that several disappearances had occurred near the campus, all connected by one detail. Each victim's room had blood written on the wall with the words "Go to sleep." Mohammed swallowed hard. "That's exactly what I heard," he said. "Some call him Jeff the Killer," she whispered. "An urban legend, but the bodies we found say otherwise." Mohammed's medical training kicked in. He asked to see the autopsy reports. As he examined the files, he noticed a disturbing pattern. The cuts were precise, almost surgical. "This isn't random," he murmured. "He knows anatomy. He knows how to make it hurt without killing instantly." Detective Hall nodded grimly. "Then he's more than a monster. He's calculating." She looked at Mohammed. "If you're right, we'll need your help to stop him." Mohammed hesitated, glancing at his bandaged arm from the night before. He didn't want to be part of this. But he also knew if he didn't face Jeff, no one else would survive. For the next 2 nights, Mohammed and Detective Hall studied every detail they could find: police reports, missing student logs, and security footage. The pattern was clear. Jeff always attacked around midnight, choosing victims who were alone and awake. So they came up with a plan. They would spread a rumor around campus that a new exchange student was moving into the abandoned East Dorm, the same one Jeff had been seen near. Mohammed volunteered to act as bait. "Are you sure about this?" Hall asked as she handed him a small earpiece. Mohammed nodded. "If I don't stop him, he'll just find someone else." That night, fog rolled in early. The dorm was silent, dust-covered and half-lit by flickering bulbs. Mohammed set up a small lamp on the desk, pretending to study like always. His heart raced with every creak and whisper of the old building. Hours passed. Nothing. Then tap, tap, tap at the window. The same sound, the same rhythm. He turned his head slowly. Through the cracked glass, a white face smiled back at him, wide, twisted, alive with hate. "Hello, doctor," Jeff said, his voice like broken glass. Mohammed pressed the earpiece. "He's here," he whispered. But the radio crackled, static only. Detective Hall's voice didn't come through. Jeff climbed to the shattered window like a spider, holding his knife low and gleaming. "Go to sleep?" Mohammed stepped back, keeping calm despite the terror. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a syringe filled with medical anesthetic. Jeff grinned. "What's that?" "My bedtime medicine." Mohammed's voice shook. "Exactly." Jeff lunged. Mohammed dodged, the knife slicing his arm open. Pain shot through his body, but he moved fast, faster than Jeff expected. He grabbed Jeff's wrist, jammed the syringe into his neck, and pressed the plunger. Jeff stumbled back, laughing weakly. "What did you do?" "Put you to sleep," Mohammed said through gritted teeth. Jeff's eyes rolled back as his body hit the floor, motionless. For the first time in weeks, Mohammed exhaled. It was over, or so he thought. Mohammed sat against the wall, breathing hard, blood dripping from the cut on his arm. Jeff's body lay still on the cold floor, the syringe still buried in his neck. He pressed his earpiece again. "Detective Hall, it's done. He's down." Static. Then, finally, "I'm on my way. Don't move." Mohammed's eyes never left Jeff's pale face. The twisted smile seemed frozen in place, even in unconsciousness. But then, the fingers twitched. Once. Twice. No. Mohammed whispered. Jeff's eyes snapped open, pupils wide and black. He rose slowly, laughing in a hoarse, broken voice. Did you really think it would be that easy? Mohammed scrambled to his feet, blood soaking through his sleeve. Jeff grabbed the knife from the floor and slashed wildly, his movements erratic but fast. Mohammed dodged, knocking over a desk, a chair, anything to slow him down. They crashed through the hallway, shattering windows, kicking doors open. The building echoed with their struggle, metal against metal, grunts of pain and Jeff's insane laughter. You should have gone to sleep. Jeff screamed. Mohammed grabbed a broken metal pipe from the floor, swinging it with all his strength. It struck Jeff's side, sending him crashing into a wall. But Jeff just laughed harder, his mouth bleeding, his eyes burning with hatred. I like you, Doctor, he hissed. You fight back. Mohammed raised the pipe again, shaking. Stay down. Jeff lunged, and Mohammed drove the pipe straight through his chest. Jeff gasped, eyes wide, smile fading. He collapsed, the knife clattering beside him. Sirens wailed outside as Detective Hall and the officers stormed in. They found Mohammed covered in blood, the floor a mess of glass and shadows. But when Hall approached Jeff's body, it was gone. Only the knife remained, the same knife that started it all. Mohammed stared at it, trembling. Is it over? He asked softly. Hall picked up the weapon, her expression grim. For now, she said, but monsters like him, they never really die. Mohammed looked out the shattered window into the fog-covered forest. Somewhere out there, a faint laugh echoed through the night, soft, distant, and chilling. Go to sleep.